How I make my strips from my fur throws. This project consisted of 3 full-length fur coats, 3 stoles, and 1 fox jacket.
The center measurement is going to be 84 inches square. And then I have the border, which are going to be 8 inches wide. That should equal out to approximately 100 by 100. But we'll see, because, you know, it all depends on how much fur I can actually use. So what I'm going to be doing is strips of 84. So when I cut my strips are not 84 inches in length. They're different. So I usually start with my longest one. This is 84 inches. It's going to be 84 inches in length, but it is 12 and a half inches wide. And once I figure out how much fur is available, I'll measure it and I write down the amount or the length. So this is 49 inches. All the other pieces were different in length. This was 38.5 inches. $16.25 and so on. So from a full fur coat, what I will do is I will take my 12 and a half inch ruler that I have right here, and I will cut 12 and a half inch strips. But not all the strips are going to be the same length. So once I cut a strip, my main strip is always the longest piece, and I do that from the center of the back. And this one is 49 inches. It's going to be my longest piece, but it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to have to combine it with an additional piece of fur. After I make all the strips, I write down the length of each. So the first one was 49. The second one was 38. The next one was 38. And I always use a piece of painter's tape. You could actually write on the fur. I choose not to. I just use a little piece of painter's tape because I'm going to pull that off later on when the project is made. But you can see that there's all kinds of writing on here, but I prefer not to do that. So the next one is 38.5. And these smaller pieces came from the sleeve. They're 16. And this one is 16.25. So, how do I know that I'm going to get enough? It's 84 is my center block. And I'm going to start with the largest piece that I have, which is 49. So I'm going to subtract 84 from 49, and that's going to give me 35. So that's the next piece that I need, 35 inches. But all my pieces are 38. If I use the 2/16, it would be too small. So I'm going to have some leftover. So 38 minus 35 is 3. So I'm going to have an additional 3 inches of fur that I might be able to use in my next strip. So I'm going to cross out the 49 and the 38, and I'm going to add all the rest together. 38.5 plus the 16 plus the 16.25, and that's going to give me 70.75. Well, my strip has to be 84 minus the 70. So it's actually 84 minus 70.75. And that's going to give me 13.25. So I could do one of two things. I can make another strip from the scraps or the leftover fur that was cut to measure out 13.25. Or I can just cut one that's 10 inches and add my additional 3. But I don't really think I want to do that because the less seams for me, the better, right? So what I've done here is I've taken all the additional straight pieces that I had. Let me pull this back a little bit. These are the straight pieces that I had originally. And I'm going to add that to the bottom of one of my strips. I'm going to bring it to the machine and I'm going to sew these seams together. And when I built it, I actually built it on my ruler. So I know that it's going to be, when I laid it out, it's going to be 12.5 inches wide, a little bit wider than that. And it's going to extend beyond the 12.5. So there'll be plenty of fur for an additional piece. So instead of having 5 horizontal seams on the strip, I'll have 4 horizontal seams on the strip. I think less is better. 2 of the darker fox. I have cut 2 strips of the lighter fox, 2 strips of the white mink, and now I'm going to be doing a strip from a stole, which is a lighter mink. Whatever is left over, also from the project, is going to be used around the edge as a border. We'll see what looks nice and we'll put it together.
Come visit us at dinahsquilts.com.